Yo, what's up guys, Boogle here, and today we are going into, of course, the Pure Land in-depth guide, aka Okame. This is a pretty straightforward level. There's nothing really too crazy here in this stage, so yeah, we're gonna cover it anyways, but finally, let's just hop into the lineup. Now, the lineup we got here is very simple. Of course, we got both of our strong combos here to support our Manic Island, and of course, we have our anti-red, which is Sushi, aka Ro, or True Form Sushi. If you do have him, he can pretty much carry the level if you do have it high enough leveled. Now, our main units in this lineup is below level 40, except for Bullet Train, but you don't need Bullet Train at 40. It does help greatly, so I do recommend getting Bullet Train to 40, but the rest, they can be below 40. But if you have Manic Island at level 40, that helps tremendously, and you might not even have to run a double strong combo, and you could try to run like a research combo or attack up or pretty much anything else. Now, you don't really need Manic Eraser here, but it does help sometimes getting Pizza's attack off if you are using Pizza, so keep that in mind. And if you have some other units to bring, let's say your Island Cat, you could use that if it's higher leveled. Of course, we could go with Island Cat in this stage as well. With the double strong combo, it works perfectly fine. And of course, Manic Island level 30 is good enough with the double strong combo, but if you have it level 40, then you don't need the double strong combo. You can make some replacements. And Pizza here is pretty solid choice. It could wipe out the big gory waves or the singular gory waves that are buffed. He can handle them very easily alone. And if you are having troubles, once again, bring Manic Eraser to help support Pizza to get his attacks off. But make sure not to spam Manic Eraser too much to trigger Okame's attacks. And of course, Ro here, if you have it high enough leveled, I do recommend getting it at a decent level, like 35 plus. Ours is at 37, which works perfectly fine. And of course, I already mentioned Bullet Train, but Bullet Train is very helpful here because Okame does knockback. Bullet Train being able to get the peons killed, get that huge cash boost, and move along is very helpful. Also, Can work as a replacement, but it doesn't work as well as Bullet Train, so yeah. And in the second half of this video, of course, I'll go over more suggestions and replacements if you have some stuff to use that is better. Of course, this is just a guide. People sometimes forget that guides aren't meant to be strictly followed. This is just supposed to give you an idea of how to beat the level. Yes, you do have a good chance to beat the level if you just copy the lineup and go into the stage, but it's not always going to be the same. So watch the guide, pick up some of the things I say, and use those to your advantage in your lineup and your runs. But anyways, the combos, of course, we mentioned this before, it's the double strong up combo with, of course, the defense combo that is mixed in, which helps out a lot. Now, as for power-ups, you don't really need any power-ups, especially if you're using the help of Ubers. You will not need any power-ups. But if you are struggling, power-up to bring is, of course, Sniper Cat power-up. Helps out a lot with the crowd control and keeps Okame at a safe distance away from the base every time it does get to that close, tight situation. Now, of course, if you're using things like Cyberpunk or Sniper the Deadeye, then you won't need the Sniper Cat power-up, but those two can pretty much slightly carry the stage as well, so don't forget about Sniper the Deadeye or Cyberpunk in the stage. But anyways, as soon as you start this stage, all you need to do is just start spamming Manic Island or your anti-reds and just push forward. Now, the first wave of gory, singular gory, does happen very quick, as you can see, but all you need to do is, of course, just have Pizza ready. And of course, if your islands are high enough level, they can kill the gory on its own. But since our islands are level 30, it does need the help of course, Pizza Cat, and once Pizza gets up here and gets that hit and kills it, then we're all fine to just push hard on Okame again. If you have wave talents on your Pizza, in this situation, it could help out greatly because it could hit the gory and boom, look at that. We got the wave hit on Okame, so it's very helpful in that part. Now, of course, once you handle the singular gory wave, it's fine to just start pushing hard onto the face, the mask boy, and just spam your Manic Islands and Rose. Now, this is where Sniper Cat pretty much will do its job and keep it at a safe distance and just wait till you get to the next gory wave Now as for Bullet Train here, there is going to be those infinite black doges that spawn. I'm pretty sure there's infinite of them. So every time they do spawn, that is your time to just try to get some Bullet Train hits on the dark doges and get a nice cash boost, because it is very helpful for these gory waves that happen. Because spamming Manic Island and Row all the time is very costly, so if you don't have enough for pizza by the time those gory waves arrives, if you can't manage your money correctly, cycling the Bullet Train for the dark doges is very crucial for that necessary cash boost, so keep that in mind. So there's just a tiny bit of timing involved. It's nothing too crazy, just time Bullet Train for the dark doges, get a huge cash boost, and you just manage that money out for the next gory wave. Handle it with pizza or any other anti-black that you're using, and move along. As you could probably tell, this isn't really a difficult stage with the proper units, even with below level 40 units, which I recommend having at least level 40, around the level 40 mark for this part of the game. But all you gotta do is just keep repeating that cycle over and over again until you eventually kill the Mask Boy. Now some ways to make this go by faster is of course if you have higher level units, or if you have high level units and you don't need the double strong up combo, of course, you could free up some slots and you can bring stuff like a Bahamut or Ubers that could really speed up the cycle here. Now since our units are a bit lower leveled, it did take a little bit to take out Okame, and by a little bit I mean 4 or 5 minutes, but once again, even with these low levels, if you have a Sniper the Cat power up or some crowd control to maintain that distance, it works perfectly fine. It'll just take a little bit longer. But yeah, let's move into, of course, the suggestions and I'll wrap up the guide. Now, being a red and black enemy, of course, there's many counters for Okame here, and the list just goes on, and it just makes this stage just such a big joke. Of course, obvious ones being Pai Pai, Yukimura, pretty much any anti-black Uber that outranges Okame initially can handle this stage very well. As long as you don't trigger those attacks, you can pretty much sweep by the stage. A good example of this is, of course, Kenshin, a very good unit to use in the stage, can constantly knock back Okame very easily. Of course, the other two units I mentioned previously, Cyberpunk and Sniper the Deadeye, also very good options for this stage. Of course, Jizzo, of course, a lot of things like Ku can work very well. Majority of the War Gods can work very well in this stage, though KG does struggle just a bit because he does get outranged, so he might just constantly just get knocked back and bullied. But he can of course handle the peons very well. Peach Devils can work as a good rusher type unit in the stage. Units that are tanky that also resist knockbacks is very well in the stage. A lot of the Almighties also work in the stage. There's just a lot of Ubers that can work for the stage, as long as you aren't triggering that attack all the time. If you play smart with your Uber usage, you could pretty much use almost every single Uber in this stage, because generally most Ubers are at around or above the 400 range mark, and Okame's trigger range is at like 320, so it is very easy for a lot of Ubers to counter Okame and get him in a knockback lock like Kenshin. And once again, if you are using a lot of these Ubers, you want to play it smart and try not to trigger Okame's attack too much, because that Omni Strike could reach pretty far and that could ruin the Uber's effectiveness that you have against Okame, unless they're resistant to knockback, which is also once again helpful only if they are a tanky unit. But yeah, that pretty much sums everything up. Not too much of a difficult stage, just have the right units and right strategy and you win. Pretty much little strategy involved here. It is just spamming island with strong up combo and row and cycling the occasional bullet train. But yeah, drop a like if this guide helped you out, of course. Subscribe if you're new, join the hashtag Boogle gang. It's been John Boogle, and see ya.